You might have seen it already, but a few months ago we were out testing spods and spombs underwater. There was a lot of good feedback from that, but there was one question that we kept getting asked, and that was what happens to boilies. Obviously at the time we were using particles, but now we're going to do the same with boilies. We've got a mark float out in the swim behind us, we've felt around, found a nice clear spot, so we're going to try spods, we're going to try spombs, but we're also going to get throwing sticks out and just see what's going to be the most accurate, what kind of presentation they give and what you can do to improve your accuracy. So let's get to it and see what happens. With a spod, we're just filling it kind of 3/4 of the way full. You don't want to fill it right to the brim, otherwise you do lose a lot. From past experience, I'm expecting a few to just kind of come out on the cast, but hopefully it won't be too bad. Obviously compared to a normal spod mix, you can't compress it down quite as much, so let's see how this one goes. Got everything clipped up already, so it's just a case of getting the direction right. So that's it. Obviously, as you can see, on a fairly short cast, a few did come out, but landed roughly around the same area, not quite as accurate as it could have been. So let's try another one of those. A few dropped on the initial cast, but they've got the same sort of power. Obviously, if you spot in like 100, 120 yards, they're going to be falling a lot shorter, but on short casts like this, it's not a major problem. Moving on to spombs. One thing you do hear a lot of people questioning is actually how much you can get in there. So we're using the biggest one today that they do. That's the original one they brought out. And compared to a full payload of the spod, it's surprising that you can actually get all of that in and spend a little bit more time on it. You could probably get a few more boilies in there. I think they take about 60 or so. So spend a bit of time loading it up if you want to totally max it out. Make sure that door can shut, and you can actually get more than you can get in a spod.
As the spomb lands, it's clear to see just how quickly it works. As soon as the button touches the water, it's straight open and the boilies are dropped. You'll also notice it barely drops below the surface, where the spod was diving a good couple of feet under, although it does mean that it's a little bit louder on impact.
Pretty much as we were expecting there. Spomb obviously doesn't drop anything on the cast, which is the biggest point of it. It's landing and giving a nice spread of boilies. It's a little bit wider area than you're looking at with a spod, but to be honest, I prefer that nice gaps between the boilies, gets the fish moving around and picking up individual baits. The spod, it is dropping it really tight. Obviously there's that few that fall out that spread out a little bit, but there's a nice clump on the bottom. So I suppose if you're really fishing tight into like a little hole in the weed, couple of foot wide, that might be the one. But 99% of the time, if it's straight boilies, I'd definitely be going for the spomb. You're not losing anything on the cast, and it just gets it out there slightly better feeding situation, in my opinion.